There's an issue around garrison shops. You see, garrison shops, in terms of physical structures, already exist in the cantonment areas within the army, prisons, and so forth. They already exist as physical structures. However, unlike the norm around the world, the price of goods in these garrison shops is normal. It's the normal prices that you find outside. But we want to be able to give a subsidy to those who are in the uniform forces. We want to give a subsidy in those government garrison shops. But again, we can improve the purchasing power of salaries. You can see where we are headed with this. What all we are trying to do is to improve the conditions of service of all our civil servants. That's what we're trying to do. So we talk about but you see, these garrison shops already exist, but there's no subsidy element, and that's what we're trying to cure with this proposal. Let me stop here for now.
Thank you. Leo from TeamZw. Honorable Minister Mthuli Ncube, you are speaking of subsidized goods for uniformed forces. I grew up in one of those camps, I'll put it that way. And I can safely say not all police officers live in those police camps, army camps. So how are others going to access it? Especially those who stay outside. And then,
okay, understood.
Excuse me. My other question is why the uniformed forces alone, when they get this almost the same salary as teachers, nurses? Is government not trying to seemingly pamper these civil servants so that they do not go on industrial action as they have threatened over the past months because of low wages? Thank you.
Okay.
And the next report which Cabinet received was on the proposed Civil Service Mutual Savings Fund. Following presentation by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development of the proposed Civil Service Mutual Savings Fund, which was presented by the Minister of Finance, Honorable Professor Mthuli, Cabinet resolved as follows. A, that the government employs Mutual Savings Fund, GEMS Fund, in short, and that be established with effect from March 2020. B, that government will immediately provide a lump sum injection of 100 million Zimbabwe dollars from the budget to facilitate the expedited establishment of this fund. C, that a 2.5% of the total remuneration be deducted from every government employee in consultation with the Public Service Commission. D, that a steering committee comprising the Public Service Commission, Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, and the Office of the President and Cabinet be established to decide on the implementation modalities of this fund. And finally, E, that garrison shops be established to enable all members of the Defense Forces who will be on the GEMS Fund to have the additional benefit of accessing subsidized basic commodities that will be sold in the specialized shops located within the cantonment areas.
Still on the issue of garrison shops, you clear to say it's different from silo shops. So as a follow-up to what Leo just said now, if surely you're going to cater for the needs of the uniformed forces, how more about the teachers and the other players in that make up the civil service? That's why I asked, where are the silo shops? Because if you have the silo shops and you set up this garrison arrangement for the uniformed forces, it will be, at par. You'll be saying, we've set up this for teachers, and okay, so that's where my case is.
Let me come to the GEMS Fund, the Civil Service Mutual Savings Fund. So what is this? What problem are we trying to solve? What we've found is that civil servants tend to borrow out there. Some of them are actually in debt, serious debt. Some of you may even know this, with loan sharks charging very high interest rates out there. And our view is, let's provide our civil servants an alternative where they can borrow cheaply and support their day-to-day activities. What we've done so far, we've solved the pension issue. We've put in a government pension fund. So when they retire, they have a pension, so that's okay. But they need now on a day-to-day basis, and they are borrowing from loan sharks at very, very high interest rates. So we want to solve that problem. So the solution we've come up with was saying, you know what? Government itself must step up. We should create this fund and immediately capitalize it to the tune of $100 million. We've done our numbers for the 300,000 civil servants. We think this is a good figure in terms of capitalization of the fund. Then the civil servants themselves, for them to benefit from borrowing from this fund, must also contribute to the fund. And we worked it out that 2.5% seems to be the right level of contribution. And then that will then allow them to access a certain level of credit, certain level of borrowing. Right? We don't want to give that detail too much, because this is the launch and we'll finish that. And then they borrow. But of course, being a mutual savings fund, mutual means is by agreement, by association. We also want to leave some flexibility in the fund where people can, once we start, they can also opt out. If they decide they don't like it, they can opt out. That's okay. It's not really something that we want to enforce at all. But we are also aware, in fact, that's the truth, that in the security sector, there is a benefit fund. I don't know if you may be aware, but that's compulsory because they have different conditions. But when I say that opt out, I mean the rest of the civil service. So that's really the idea. We're just trying to step in as government to solve a problem that we've noticed. And of course, we cannot compel people and they start comparing the 2% and so forth. Let me say something else, that if you don't borrow while you're contributing, whatever you're putting is yours. It's yours. So it's a savings. So that can be paid out to you, or you can, or even when you opt out and say, I'm charter, I'm fully, we just say thank you very much, but here's what we've put in there, plus the interest on it. It's yours, you take it away. So it's a very simple system, and we think that it will go a long way in assisting civil servants. I don't know if I have much more to explain. I don't think there are any aspects that in the explanation. I think I'll stop here for now. I'm happy to take follow-up questions.
Minister, you said about the savings fund, civil savings.
You didn't say your name.
Clarkson, Mom.
Clarkson, yes.
You said civil savings will be able to borrow cheaply. How cheap is cheap?
Okay. All right. Any last contribution? That's right.
Clarkson, civil servants will borrow cheap, and how cheap? So, Minister.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So, Leo, you asked about, again, how can members of uniformed forces access these subsidized goods if they don't live within the cantonment areas. That doesn't matter. So what will happen is that each of them, wherever they live, will be issued with a card or with a credit limit, and they can only access those goods. Let's say they just use it once a month to buy whatever needs to be bought for that month, whatever they desire from the subsidized shop. So they could be living within the cantonment or outside, it doesn't matter. They too can buy from that shop. So that's how it works in the specific card that will be issued to those within the uniformed forces. Now, in terms of why the uniformed forces, this is a global norm We would not be the first to do it, by the way. In fact, it has taken us this long to do it. We will not be first. We were basically copying what is the global norm that the members of uniformed forces tend to have these shops within their cantonments. It's normal. It's part of the